Almost every single tier list made for Genshin Impact is an individual character-based tier list. But Genshin Impact is a team game. So today, we're going to go through every single AOE team in the game and rank them on how strong they are. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide who you want to wish for and build. And also keep in mind, this tier list is far from definitive. Every single team, it can be much higher or much lower depending on the enemy content that you're facing. And so you should not look at the final result and say, this is the be-all end-all. The actual be-all end-all is to give you ideas and for you to mix and match and to think, hey, I have some of these characters, I can build these teams, and to give you a ton of team ideas so that you can build some great new fun teams, and so try out some teams that you may not have thought of yet. And also, a lot of the teams that we're going to be using, we're using 4 characters to represent them, but you can mix and match a lot of those characters for other similar characters, and so just keep in mind that those 4 are not the only 4 that you can use on that team. And we're going to be joined today by one of my favorite content creators, Flip, who, unlike me, actually looks at a ton of numbers regarding to the game from sheets and theory crafting, and so he's going to be super valuable for this video. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there. I am Flip. I am a Genshin content creator. I've also fallen down the degenerate rabbit hole. I make videos on meta, and I talk about other content creators. I put them in something I call a Genshin court. Basically, I just judge their takes.
Yeah.
So I will be here today joining Jello to assist him so I can make sure he's of as correct standard as possible.
So you said you fell down the degenerate rabbit hole. Are you trying to get out? That is, I think, the question that our viewers want to know.
Considering the fact I am not playing Honkai Star Rail, I am trying my best to get out.
Fair enough. I guess I'm still deep and falling deeper, unfortunately. Okay, so let's get into it. What are we doing here? What are all these things? We've got every AOE team in the game. So on this channel, we're going to be doing every AOE team in the game, and then on Flip's channel, we're doing every single target team in the game. And so we're going to judge all of these teams on each of our respective channels. So after you finish watching this video, make sure you go check out Flip's video, and while you're there, make sure to check out his other videos as well and see if you find them as hilarious as I do, because they're hilarious.
Oh, thank you.
I guess we might as well get started. We've got the OG Morgana team right here. So
yeah.
What are your thoughts about on this team, Flip?
I mean, assuming it works. Assuming it does work, which I don't know, currently, at least for floor 12s, hasn't been that consistent. Assuming it does work, though, I think it's like up there really high, if not the best.
Yeah.
But the only real issue is kind of the fact that the content it deals with isn't the hardest.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if you're using this team, then Venti has to be able to like actually lift the enemies into the air for it to be properly effective. And whenever you can do that, like you said, the enemies are usually pretty squishy, and pretty much anything can deal with them.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Agreed.
What do you think about putting down in this last slot here?
Don't do it. There's no point. You have Venti sucking up all the enemies, making them immovable anyways. On top of the fact that you have freeze, it's just better to run an offensive cry unit like Shenhar Rosario. Please stop using Diona here.
I guess it's the thing about this team in terms of ranking is it's S tier if it works, and then it's like, what is it if it doesn't work? What is it if it does? Is it B or is it C? That's my question. It's C, isn't it?
Assuming enemies aren't getting sucked up by Venti, then it's
what if it's
C.
like AOE, like 2 consecrated beasts? Like, is that C? It really doesn't perform very well.
I don't think do they even get sucked up? Okay, then no, yeah. It's just not gonna work. And Gani's like charged attack damage on this team isn't great either. So no.
Yeah. So overall, do we land in B just as like B or A as a middle ground? How much?
Yeah, I would say we put an A and we see what other teams we get, I guess.
Next one is Sino Aggravate. So this is not the Sino Hyper Bloom. That one we're saving for the single target. But Sino Aggravate, really I think got a pretty big upgrade with Baiju, because you actually have some resistance interruption for his Aggravate team.
Yeah.
But I do think that his like, I do think that Sino really suffers from long field time, and the buffs from Kazuha and just Fischl's time doing damage
off field, they just don't last long enough.
Yeah, and whereas both of them run out, and Sino still has half his burst left.
Yeah, which is kind of the unfortunate thing. And also, at least Kazuha does have his aggravate souls, which are nice damage. Fischl's very single target oriented. Baizu's very single target oriented.
Yeah.
And then Sino, especially if you can't just get a lot of quicken procs, and if enemies regroup and stuff, it can be a pain to like get quick on everyone and aggravate everyone. So
do you think it?
I mean,
it's definitely as good as Morgana most of the time.
Yeah, but I don't think it is as good as Morgana when it works, at least in AOE. So I think I think like maybe B or the top of C.
B or the top of C, eh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with putting it in B, top of C for now. Yeah, that's fine with me. I think this team is a lot better though.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Kitching aggravates very strong. Also, the fact the team is very quick swappy. You can swap to Kazuha a lot more in this team than you can swap to Sino.
Yeah. I would argue that if the enemies are groupable, okay, you go first. Sorry.
That's fine. You carry on. It's your video.
I was just gonna say if the enemies are groupable, then and you're playing this team without a healer, I actually think it's that good. But if they're not groupable, or you have to replace Nahida with a healer, then it's more here. What do you think?
Because I feel like it's fair to assume you don't run a healer on this team, because like compared to a lot of other aggravate teams, especially like Yai, who's quite squishy and stays in field for a long time, it is a lot easier. And especially with Kitching's iframes, Kazuha's iframes, it's just a lot easier to survive on this team without a healer.
If Fischl had iframes,
I feel like it's fair to assume.
Fischl had iframes, man.
Yeah. They butchered her by not giving her like any immunities during her burst. Yeah.
As a new player, I was so confused. I was so confused as a new player as to why I could be damaged while I felt like I died every time I used my burst. I was like, what is going on?
Dude, it's so bad. Like you just use your burst and a Hilichurl just fucking slams into you. There's nothing you can do.
So what are your thoughts on where it ends up in power level?
I feel it's fine to put it in A.
Okay.
And it is just a lot consistently better than Morgana
It is. Yeah, I agree.
But again, if we're talking Morgana when it works, then yeah.
Of course, Morgana's ass. How about another aggravate team, Beidou aggravate? What do you think about that one?
Okay, so I don't think it's kind of hard to justify having a healer here, like not having a healer here, because with Nahida and you're using Sucrose on field who is quite squishy, and you don't have like Jingzhou's interrupt to resistance or his like damage mitigation, I think it's kind of hard to not use a healer here like Yaya or something, which kind of hurts the team's damage a lot.
My comments are already screaming at you to use Prototype Amber on Nahida.
That is not a solution though.
But Beidou has some especially with resistance.
I mean, she does.
I've refused to craft Prototype Amber so far, so I actually don't know how much healing it really gives you when you're not using it on a healing character.
I only use it on my Kokami.
Yeah. So what do you think? I don't know. For me, I think this team is pretty good. Obviously, in this Abyss where we've got all these single targets, I think it's S tier when there's exactly 2 targets, just like Beidou is. Yeah. But otherwise,
Beidou's peak.
I think it's just pretty good. I don't think it's better than Keqing. Yeah. I think it's worse.
I agree. I don't think it's better than Keqing also, but I do think it is better than, at least if we're looking at consistent AOE, I think it's better than Sino.
Yeah.
Or Morgana too.
Yeah. Morgana is so hard to talk about.
It just fares a lot. I know. It just fares a lot better than a lot of enemies.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay. Next is Ayaka Freeze. So we talked about Morgana, Ganyu freeze. Now let's talk about Ayaka freeze. I guess for me, Ayaka freeze is similar to Ganyu freeze in that when it works, it's also the best team in the game. And when it doesn't work, but I feel like when it doesn't work, it's still pretty decent, and it works more of the time. What do you think?
I'm trying to think. Because compared to, like, if we're comparing, like, Venti to Kaza's grouping, Kaza has immediate grouping, and then Ayaka can act on that by having immediate front load right after, which is very nice, especially for, like, for bosses with small windows.
Yeah.
If you want to... Okay, why am I saying bosses? This is AOE for, like, enemies. Like, if you just, like, have multi-waivers. Okay.
Yeah, or enemies enemies that escape from you, like Rift Hounds, or those I can't remember those lizard things.
Consecrated beasts as well.
Yeah, consecrated beasts. Ruin
enemies. There was this one abyss where it was just like a bunch of Rift Hounds.
Yeah.
And it was like way easier. Like, it was just 2 big Rift Hounds. It was way easier to clear it with Ayaka than it was with Ganyu teams. So again, Ayaka freeze is just like a lot more applicable in more situations as well. And even like if we're looking at what mobbing content, it's still fine in mobbing content. You just swirl with Kazuha and Q with them.
Exactly.
It should kill things fine. I don't know. And
even in ungroupable content, as long as they're like relatively close together, like the 3 Magu Kenkis, for example, or like in like abysses that where there's still a bunch of enemies, there's still multiple enemies, but they're not as groupable, it still can work, just not as optimally.
Triple Magu Kenki is like a really good point. I actually forgot that's a boss as well. And I don't think, I feel like people overestimate how much like freeze benefits the team. It gives you the 20% crit rate, which is good, obviously. But then
I think a big reason why people I feel like a big reason why people overestimate crit rate, the freeze, is because they don't build enough crit rate on their Ayaka. So you've got these people building like 30% crit rate on their Ayaka, and it makes sense on the surface, right? Because you get 40% from Blizzard Destroyer when they're frozen, another 15% from Cryo Res. So you're looking at 55 plus 30 is like 85. Seems like a good amount of crit rate. But the problem comes if you lose freeze, now you're missing out on, 15%. Now you're looking at 70%. Now you're looking at a bigger DPS loss. Versus if you actually built 45% crit rate and you got yourself to 100 with Blizzard Destroyer when they're frozen, and then down to 85 when they're not frozen, you actually still are doing a lot more consistent good damage.
Yeah, and also the fact you have Shenhe on this team as well, and she just like takes it to a like higher level than with like Rosario or Kaya, to where the damage is still good enough. You don't really need freeze that heavily if you have Shenhe as well. Especially considering a lot of times Rosario's whole burst won't hit when enemies aren't staying frozen, or Kaya's whole burst won't hit, or it won't get all of his damage off, whereas Shenhe, you're always guaranteed basically to get 100% of the damage that you gain, so she's a lot more consistent and a lot more front-loaded. I feel like people are gonna yell at us if we put Ayaka above Ganyu.
No, Ayaka's above Ganyu like for sure. I don't know if we can quite justify S tier though.
I don't think we can though. I feel like there's only 2 teams I'm thinking of that are gonna be S tier, and I think agree. You know one of them.
I think I know both.
All right, let's move on then.
So
I can't wait for the Ganyu comments. I'd put it there.
I think the Ganyu comments should just be happy that it's even in A tier. I'm ready to take it down to B tier. I'm ready.
Oh no.
I'm ready.
All right, we'll see it.
Okay, Ayato. Oh no, that's not.
That's not Ayato.
Ayato. What the heck is this? Oh, Ayato National.
Yes.
So first national.
If you're wondering why.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. was gonna say, if you're wondering why like Sucrose is here over Kazuha, it's just a lot easier to double swirl on this team with Sucrose than Kazuha.
Globoswirl,
basically.
right?
Yeah, Globoswirl
I've never
guarantees the power
Globoswirled.
swirl. What? Oh my! Wow,
Never.
I'm surprised.
Yeah,
And you give guides? Wow.
I know. I'm immediately discredited.
No, I'm just playing with you. You use Kazuha a lot more anyways.
Yeah,
So.
exactly.
But-
Okay, so
Yes.
how good is this team? It's solid, right? It's a national team, so it's still
Yeah.
you know, Zhangling and Sucrose and Bennett. We've got pretty much 3 of the best characters in the game, and Ayato, a really solid character as well. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
And also,
It's good.
compared to other national variants, you have Ayato, who can actually like enable jangling to vape in AOE, which is really
Right.
nice.
Yeah. Basically,
Yeah, it's really solid
it's
indeed.
kind of scuffed child, but it's still good.
Yep.
And going down, a lot of people feel like going down to Sucrose from Kazuha might feel like more of a downgrade, and for scrubs like me, it can feel like that. But if you actually know how to play the game, then her buff is still very significant, and it's about the same.
Yep.
I should probably drink while you're talking so that I can maximize on-air time.
That would make sense. Yes.
Okay, so we have, what the heck is this?
Is this
Why is this a
national?
team?
What did you? When did you make this? What?
I don't remember.
We never wrote this down, dude.
I don't remember screenshotting this. I think this is.
That's certainly a team.
I think that-
Jesus Christ.
I think this is supposed to be Sucrose National.
Did you mess up that?
I think I did. I don't see Sucrose National anywhere.
Are you serious? That's hilarious. Okay.
Okay, so
Let's
let's
just-
pretend
let's
this
just
is
carry on.
Sucrose
Yeah, yeah.
National. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sayu is Zhongling here.
Yeah. Zhangling just took a break. She was too busy in the kitchen. I don't know, dude. Okay.
Okay.
So this is probably one of the teams I play the most.
Okay.
Okay. We're ranking this in AOE, so I
Correct.
think it's like important to say that in this team with Jingcho, you don't get AOE vapes as frequently, at least,
Yeah.
which kind of neuters Zhangling's AOE damage a lot, and
It's a-
Zhangling is.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say Zhangling is like a majority of the team's DPS, especially in AOE, and not vaping everything in AOE really sucks.
Right. That's a good
You
point.
can probably do some funky themes like try to infuse Sucrose's burst to Jingcho, but that's just inconsistent and janky, so I wouldn't really
Right.
rely on it.
Right.
Mm.
I would pretty much agree with what you said.
But yeah, I do think, at least if we're just looking at AoE, and like consistent AoE damage, I just would put it below the Ayato National, even below Aika, I think.
Yeah. But it's still above Beto.
Because yeah, you still do get decent AoE, and you can like nuke Jingcho's E, which is a lot of front-loaded hydro damage. So yeah, I think it's still okay in AoE. Definitely isn't as good in AoE as it is in single target, but yeah, I think it should be fine there.
And if any of the comments are wondering why these teams run together and why it's so hard to distinguish between them, that is totally 100% because I'm trying to prevent people from just skipping to the end and understanding what the heck is going on. And totally not because I did not think of this when I made the tier list format. It's completely nothing to do with it being an oversight. It is all planned.
He's just a mastermind, like, dude.
Correct. Yeah. So
Alright, let's move on to the next team then.
Thundering Virgin Razor.
Can we just put this in D tier? Yeah, can we just leave this there? Oh, okay. I don't. You can take this over. I don't know much about this team.
Okay, well, I've played this team a pretty good amount. My Razor is really well built for this team. It's level 90 and maxed out with everything. And this team, yeah, It's dedication to the. I won't Globus Swirl, but I will level 90 my Razor.
All right.
So no, I will Globus Swirl. I just haven't got around to it yet. This team is pretty strong in when enemies don't get bumped around. So it's like when you're fighting, it's basically good in all the places where Nilu is best in, but it feels really mediocre as soon as it doesn't work exactly right. So it's like, yeah, it's one of those, it's kind of like the way Morgana works really, really well in certain instances. This works really well in ungroupable AOE, where they're already close together. And
Rune Guard content.
Yeah, but it also is pretty good in bosses. I would say it's better in bosses than in like spread out mobs. So for that, because because this is an AOE tier list, not a single target, like it gets points as an overall team for being pretty decent in single target, but in strictly AOE, like, I don't know, it's B or C to me.
You can put wherever you want. It's fine.
I don't know.
If it was up to me, I'd put it in D.
I'm gonna put it. Why do you want to put it in D?
I hate the name.
It's Burgeon Razor. We don't have to talk about the other thing.
Okay, thank God. Okay, just put it in C for now, I guess. We'll see if we want to change it later. I don't know.
Okay. It's tough because it is A in the right content, but it's A in it's yeah.
And especially if we're gonna knock Morgana for consistency, then I think it's also fair to knock this for consistency.
Sure. Okay. So we'll talk about the better Burgeon team.
Yes, so true.
So it's better because it's mobile, right? You have Toma follows you around everywhere, Fischl follows you around, and you have, again, it's also really good in single target because both Fischl and Xingqiu are very single target oriented. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts on this is that, yeah, it's just a good team, and you also have a good on-fielder in Nahida that's not Razor. And
Yeah.
There's not really much to say about it. Burgeon's just very strong AoE bloom stuff.
Yeah.
Then you also get more siege generation due to Fischl on this team. Yeah.
It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough for me to play. Where do I put this versus like this? Like this.
I would put it above, honestly. It's quite strong.
Yeah.
Also,
you think it's better than Sucrose National?
In AoE? I would say so, yes.
It does feel very strong. I don't quite think it's as good as Ayaka Freeze when it's all decked out like this.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're playing budget Ayaka Freeze with...
But yeah, it's good in mobbing. It's good in mobbing. It's good with heavy targets. I don't really see a place it falls off.
Yeah, it's more consistent.
Yeah. You're just consistently good. It may not reach like the highest highs like Morgana does or Ayaka Freeze does when it works, but it's just consistently solid AoE.
It is very consistently solid, yeah. Agreed.
Alright, we can move on to
the other thing I forgot... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no. I was just going to say we move on to the next if you have nothing else, but...
Yeah. I was just going to say for Razor, the other thing I forgot is that he takes up your Bennett and your Xingqiu and your Nahida all at the same time. Like, at least when you build Toma, yes, he takes up Xingqiu and Nahida, but he at least leaves your Bennett for the other side, so you can run a Bennett-based team. Or, like, if you're running Sucrose National, yes, it's taking up Xingqiu Bennett, but at least is leaving Nahida for the other side, right? Yeah. Like, you've got those kind of 3 core pieces, and Razor is taking all of them for one team, and it's kind of a cope team. Like, it's good. It's good sometimes, but it's like, it's not like the best team in the game or something. So that's the other thing. That's the other problem I have with this team. Should we do some Raiden teams? We've got Raiden Hyper and Raiden Yai and Raiden National. Let's do one at a time. Starting with Raiden Hyper. I've actually never played Raiden Hyper with Kujo Sara, so I'll let you start.
Okay, I used to play this team a lot, and
Yeah.
well, because mostly I do play the official variant because that's better in single target for me, and my official's like super invested. But in AOE,
Yeah.
this team does really well. I don't know, you're just front loading all of Raiden's damage,
Mm-hmm.
and Raiden's AOE is deceptively large. I feel like people underestimate how much AOE Raiden does have because they run with like
She has a
single
ton
target
of AoE.
characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
team being the focus of that, as well as having like overload. So okay, actually that is a problem kind of. If you have like lighter enemies that can be knocked back, overload is a pain in the
Yeah.
ass, and you do want to overload as that's the most damage mostly.
Yeah. But for stuff you can adjust your rotations for mobbing
Yeah,
to not
just
proc
electro
as many
swirl.
overloadeds. Yeah. If you just use your burst before Kazo's burst before popping Bennett,
Yeah,
you can play around it a bit.
that's a fair point. Yeah, but
And then also a lot of times those enemies that are knocked back by overloaded, they're quite a bit squishier, and so you don't necessarily need that extra overloaded damage. So it's not really that much of a loss.
yeah. So I don't know if I would. I'm trying to think because the only real problem I can have is that.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that mobility can kind of be a pain in the ass because that takes stamina and stuff.
Because Bennett.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you leave Bennett's circle, that's like you lose a lot of attack buffs,
Yeah.
which kind of sucks. So
Yeah.
it is kind of circle impact, and Raiden has a long downtime if you're using her by herself. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. This team in particular struggles in multiple waves. If you like overkill the first wave,
Yeah.
and then you don't get the swirl on the second wave, for example, it can be is less the rotation is not as flexible.
Mm.
What do we think? Top of A?
Do you want to put it there? I don't think so.
No. What do you think?
I'd definitely put it below Keqing, and maybe I would just put it below Burgeon. Toma.
Okay, I think that's fair.
All right. I mean, do you have
I
a
think
contention
Raiden
with that?
Yai. Sorry.
Do you disagree with it? You can put it higher if you want. Oh.
I think Raiden Yai is a better team
In AOE.
in AOE because, especially for multi waves, you can be much more flexible with your rotations. Like you can like not use your Yaimiko's burst one rotation and then start the next rotation with it after swirling. Like you can be flexible, and it can just translate to like really, really good clear times for multi-wave. Like I with C0 Raiden, C0 Yai, all on 4-star weapons, I cleared this Abyss, the multi-chamber, in like 58 seconds. Like the 4 waves of those things, which is much faster than any of my other teams could do. Because of that flexibility. So I think it's better than Burgeon.
Yeah,
Than Burgeon Toma, personally.
Yeah, I think that's honestly fair. Like, I feel like people do underestimate Raiko because it does not feel the greatest in single target. On top of the fact that people look at sheets and it's like doesn't perform that well in sheets, but in game, especially if you're just clearing multiple waves back to back to back, it flows really well and it feels like very fluid. So I don't think I think that's fair to put above Burgeon, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. It's an underrated team for sure.
With teams, it's actually, I don't know, it almost feels more difficult to rank teams than it does to rank single characters.
Yeah.
Because of how many different types of enemies affect which team is good.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, as we're doing this, I feel like that's what I'm noticing the most is how, like, it's not even just which team, it's like which team under which enemy condition.
Yeah. And like it's even weirder because we're basing this like off AOE. We're not even factoring everything like AOE and single target. Thank God we split this up, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's really tough.
But yeah. Yeah, Raiden National can stay there.
So I guess. Okay. Oh, right.
Yeah. No.
Raiden National is a single target team.
Yeah.
It's a single target team. It's only good in in ungroupable AOE.
Like Rune Guard.
Like Consecrated Beasts Rune Guards, yeah, exactly.
I like calling them Rune Guard enemies, it feels more disrespectful. But
yeah,
you can stay.
I mean, I think it's
no. It's
you think it's D?
Yeah.
I don't think it's.
Okay, sure. Put in C. It's not horrible. I just hate the team. I'm sorry.
I was so hopeful when Yelan came out that I could replace Xingqiu with Yelan, but alas.
Why not?
I mean, you can. It's fine, but it's just not better.
I see.
The biggest problem is the Yelan's burst just doesn't last long enough to use her burst first, and then if you use her burst second, then if you lose her burst after Bennett's burst, then you're losing Bennett uptime a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but it's still really good with Yelan. It's definitely the damage is about the same because you get the damage bonus, but you lose some of the Hydro app.
Yeah. We have Kave Fridge.
Okay, I won't go there. Okay, we've got Kave Fridge. Okay, why do we have Kave Fridge? Great question. Glad you asked.
Worst team ever?
The biggest issue for me rating Kave Fridge is I haven't played Kave C6, and I know he gets quite a bit of bloom. Bonus from being at C6, because if he's not at C6, it's his for sure D tier.
I don't know anything about Kave. Don't know anything about Fridge. So this is
Fridge. I mean, it's like Nilou, but worse.
Right, I think comparing it to Nilou in itself is
that's fair. It's like something. It's like a bad version of Nilou, but worse. How about that?
Who even procs bloom on this
Kave
team?
does. He explodes his blooms with his skill.
Oh, is that how that works?
Yeah, and Kokomi will the blooms that explode by themselves will be procced by Kokomi. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, it's pretty scuffed because you can't even run a Hydro character. You can't run like Kave on full EM's a little bit wasted because unless he's proccing a bloom with his skill, he's not proccing blooms. And if he is, but he doesn't even proc all the blooms with his skill, so you can't like run an offensive Hydra unit. You still have to run them on full EM as well. So
could you not just remove Nahida then?
No, there's not enough Dendro without Nahida. Yeah. So overall, I don't know. I could give him the benefit of the doubt and say that at C6 he gets better enough to be in C tier.
Do we want to be nice though? Your call.
I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt until I try it.
Posting.
Until I try it, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt.
Wow. All right.
Also, it's worth noting that you can run an Animo Grouper if you need to in the last slot. If the content calls for it, you can run Fischl in the last slot. You could run Ganyu. You could run anything you want in the last slot as long as it doesn't interfere with the bloom reaction. So it's kind of cool to have that flexibility. But it's still bad. Okay, next is Reverse Melt Rosaria.
Ooh, this is up my alley. This is one of the teams I used to run a lot.
Okay, you take it away.
Oh, what? Huh? Okay, so but it's...
You said it was...
Okay. It's a team... Yeah, no. I was surprised. So it's just Bennett, Zhangling, they do a lot of damage by themselves. And then... Sorry, Zhangling does a lot of damage by herself in AoE. Then on top of that, you have Shenhe boosting Rosaria all the way. So it's basically kind of like a hypercarry Rosaria team in a way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The only real problem with the team is more mobile enemies. because circle. You're basically playing Circle Impact.
Yeah, very much so.
Bennett Circle and Shenhe Circle and
Rosaria
Rosaria on top of that. So it is kind of also a rune guard team, but in that content it does do really well.
And it is good in single target.
I don't think it does.
We're not talking about that.
Yeah, it's really good in single target. I think it's better in single target than it is in AOE, honestly.
Yeah, for AOE you can also run Kazuha instead of Shenhe.
That is true.
And you can also do Kaya instead of Rosaria. If you're that type of person. If you want to use his cool new skin.
But unfortunately he's like half of Rosaria's DPS.
Oh.
So if you... I don't know.
Oh, sorry. No, you don't run Kaya instead of Rosaria. You can run Kaya in the Shenhe slot.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's
I was about to say, because Rosaria's the one who melts everything.
Yeah, because she has no ICD on her burst, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's actually a good point. If you just replace Shenhe for Kazuha, depending on content, or I guess you can even replace Jangling and use Kazuha as a pyro enabler. Yep. People do that, but
I didn't like that as much when I tried it, but
yeah, because Jangling's damage is really good.
Yeah, it's really big, not to be underestimated.
And she's just a lot more of a consistent pyro applicator than Kazuha is, so I would just prefer to replace Shenhe there.
I think for overall AOE though, I would kind of lean more towards B, but what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Well, maybe below Sino,
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of where I would put it. We can always come back to it.
Yeah.
We talked about Ayato already, but Ayato Soup. I actually think this team is good. You don't.
I don't. Okay. The team is fine in AoE, but my only problem is energy requirements.
It does really struggle for energy requirements. And the other problem with it in AoE is that you are proccing some overloadeds as well, aren't you?
Yeah, you kind of need and unlike like we were talking about Raiden Hyper and Raikou and stuff, you can't even just like say use an Electro Swirl, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the team.
Yeah. It's actually a bit more of a single target team, isn't it?
Soup is actually. Is it? Yeah. I mean, if you can run like TF Ayato, you can make it more single target focused. Right. Yeah.
I'm not farming TF for my Ayato. I'm sorry.
And I mean, you could also like replace. I mean, if we're talking, you can do like Pseudo Sunfire and run Raiden and Jingcho over Ayato and Fisher, but we're not talking about them, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, for those of you who don't know what Soup is, because I feel like it is kind of a niche thing.
Right.
It's basically you proc Electro Charged, and then if you're standing in Bennett Circle and you Pyro Swirl yourself, so it causes bursts and Ps with Pyro, you can basically get a 3-staged reaction, which is Electro Charged combined with Vape and Overload.
Exactly.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does ramp up in AoE, especially if enemies are grouped.
So basically you need like groupable enemies that don't get staggered that much from overloaded for it to be in its optimal spot. It's almost like we're ranking how often that teams are in their optimal spot.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I mean,
so is it still kind of B tier?
I'd put it top of B if anything, but like I think it's actually still solid in AoE. I think a lot of people should look at it more, but it's kind of hard to justify looking at when you can use Ayato and Bloom stuff, and he feels a lot better in Bloom stuff.
Yeah, well, especially with Nilou.
Yeah, and even Burgeon.
And Burgeon, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess Ayato. I didn't. If you think about it like that, Ayato Burgeon is like really, really good. Yeah. And I guess you're using a lot of the same.
Also griefed by energy requirements.
Yeah, that's true.
Then.
But wouldn't this team also have egregious energy requirements? Because Fischl creates more energy than Zhengling by a lot.
Oh, you just run Ayato 1.5.
Oh.
It's disgusting.
Is this team worse than we have it here then? Because I feel like
I think you could drop it down a bit. Yeah.
There's no way this. I don't think this team is better than Raikou.
No.
Is it better than?
You wanna put a Bulbaburgeon?
Bulbaburgeon?
I'm not sure.
It's hard.
I've changed my mind.
This game is hard.
After talking about Ayato.
I know.
Yeah.
We went in here thinking Ayato, how strong, how much we're gonna talk up Ayato, and now we're talking ourselves down on him.
Oh yeah, he has energy issues. Fuck.
Yeah, he really does though. His energy is harsh.
Yeah. And even with like the massive energy passive he has,
yeah,
it's still
rough. Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is because most characters you run them in, you have like another character of the same type. Like Ayaka is always run with another type, so is Keqing, but Ayato with another type, which we can talk about. That would allow you normally to run him with less energy, because Hydro is such a powerful reaction with other elements. You don't always want to run him with the same element, and that increases his ER by a lot.
And I love how you're saying this as we just put Mono Hydro on the tier list.
Yeah.
So Mono Hydro is just Mono Pyro but Hydro characters.
Yep.
To be fair, this team, Ayato's AOE is fine for this team, but because Yelan and Jingshou aren't really,
yeah, they're not AOE
it's
characters.
It's not like Mono Pyro. You only really have, and also Hydro Swirls don't do AOE damage.
They don't?
Did you not know that?
No.
No, it's single target swirl damage basically. It still spreads the element, but only does one instance of damage.
Really? But other elements do.
Per enemy, yeah. The other elements do 2.
Really?
For each enemy, but I don't know why.
That's really weird.
They just hate Hydra, dude. I don't know. So yeah, Hydro Swirls do less damage than Pyro and Electro and...
Interesting.
What's the other element?
Well, I've never tried this team because it looks weird, but I'm going to give it a go. I guess...
It is really fun.
Okay, I'll try it. I just didn't even consider not using like a healer in Ayato teams.
Jingshou's the healer.
Oh.
But honestly, the team is okay. It's not horrible, but it's not like peak. I guess you can, at least the strength is that you can use it in all forms of AoE content and it won't really fall off anywhere.
Right.
Because Ayato's massive burst, that's good for mobbing, good for enemies that can be grouped, good for enemies that aren't groupable.
Yeah.
You also have Yelan and Jingshou's damage there. So,
yeah.
You know, I would put like somewhere in B. I don't know where in B though.
I'm gonna put it here for now. We can maybe readjust.
Come back to it, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Yaimiko Aggravate.
Why did it take you so long to want to talk about it?
I was just trying to spread up the Aggravate teams, so we didn't talk about all the Aggravate teams in a row.
Oh, that's very
yeah. Yaimiko Aggravate. You go first.
I was just gonna say, I think I should just be above Keqing plainly.
Yes.
Top of A.
It definitely is above Keqing, for sure.
Yes.
If you're a madman and you can actually run it without a healer, which I have done, I have cleared Abyss without a healer, it is actually ridiculous. Like, it's actually, like, it's scary how strong it is.
Yeah.
Like, it actually would be an S tier team.
In ST also.
Yeah. But the problem is like, Yaimiko, I would never... if I had an enemy, I would tell my enemy to play Yaya Aggravate without a healer. And it's pain. So...
It's just the Aggravate core, and you have access to a stronger immediate front load.
Yeah.
And you also have your turrets that can all target different enemies, spreading out the AoE.
Yeah, and you get it's important to know you aggravate on each one of her turret attacks because they're going from enemy to enemy, and you don't have to. Yeah. It's as if she has no ICD, and so she kind of breaks the game that way, which is really good. Yeah. The biggest downside to using Baiju is he has pretty single target. Dendro app, it's not that great. I actually prefer Kirara, and C4 Kirara is actually going to be probably better for this team.
I was gonna say that I would probably prefer Kirara over Baizu.
Yeah. If I wasn't in such a rush, I would have put Terrara here instead. Because Baiju is ugly.
So true.
Okay. I'm sorry if you love Baiju.
I'm not
sorry,
sorry. He's ugly.
No, see, I'm sorry because he's ugly.
Oh, I agree.
Okay. Sayu aggravate. Now, to be fair, I just thought this would be funny as heck. I didn't think that this...
It is very funny.
Yeah.
It is extremely funny. I can confirm.
But
you get a lot of official aggravate procs.
I was gonna say
AOE, in AOE at least with two or more targets, you get to aggravate, and yeah, you're proccing a lot of swirls, which in turn is gonna proc officials A4, and then you aggravate as well. That also procs official A4, and yeah.
I think
fun.
The only issue that this team has is that it doesn't have a grouper.
Yeah. I mean, Sayu rolls, that's basically grouping, but bad.
Yeah. So I'm thinking probably B? Or is it...
I don't
or is
think
it actually strong? You don't think you wouldn't put it in B?
No.
Yeah, there's a C tier.
Top of C? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Not having a grouper is really bad. Until you play it, like, you think theoretically, like, if you're watching this, you're like, oh, like, how much worse can it be to not have a grouper? Like, just try it. Just play an abyss that should have a grouper and don't use it. Chamber 1, side 1. Try it. It's horrible.
Honestly, I'm thinking now, in, like, if you need a grouper, you could just replace Yai with Venti, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Double Animo.
Just roll.
We have that one. Right here.
Oh, we do, yes.
So this would be...
Yeah.
That's probably Sayu's best team, actually. Well, okay, wait, no. Can Sayu aggravate in Venti's Tornado? Will it reach?
I don't know.
I don't think it'll reach.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah. I think Sayu's too small.
No.
Yeah.
She should drink more milk. But yeah. If we're talking about double quick swap quick end teams, those teams have really good AoE, and you can even run something like TF Kazuha and just keep bouncing up and down.
Yeah, you definitely should be on TF Kazuha and this one, and you could even do Sack Sword. Just be a pogo stick.
I love comparing it to Uphold Dancer because it's the same thing. But yeah, I feel the only problem is that it doesn't really have like any sort of front load, which I feel like kind of makes
it doesn't have any sort of front load, and also it's similar, has the Venti syndrome similar to Morgana, but I think it's worse than Morgana.
Yeah.
But I think it probably hits the B tier. I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah.
But it is really strong, right? You're getting those aggravates, proccing Fischl, and then Venti's getting aggravates.
Especially if Venti does work, then it's really good. But
yeah, if Venti works, it is probably an S tier team.
Yeah, I really like the team. Oh.
Yeah, better than Soup.
No.
Better than Sino.
I think Nor will kill me if I put it above Sino, so let's just leave it below Sino for my safety.
Better or worse than this one?
I would just leave it there, yeah.
Okay. Just finishing off the aggravate train with Lisa.
I mean, to be fair, I've played it. I like it. I feel like people don't talk about how good Lisa is with Dendro. I don't think I would put it above any of the other aggravate carries besides Sayu. And I think
so just below Sino.
I think maybe just top of C for now, or below the very bottom of B.
Okay, we'll put it top of C.
Yeah.
I haven't played it, so I'm not.
It works.
Yeah, okay. Melt Ganyu.
Wait for AoE? It's Okay, so one thing I need to say is that if you're in mobbing content, one of the biggest advice you hear from Melt Ganyu is to not burst because that does mess up the rate of your melts. But if you're in like mobbing content and there's like a lot of smaller enemies, you can just do it. It's fine. And besides that, and like heavy targets, like 3 to 2 heavy targets that aren't groupable, like ruin guards and stuff, I think that's where the team like really shines in AoE. You get to like melt 3 enemies at the same time with Garni's Frost Flakes, and it feels nice.
I guess unlike a lot of pyro teams, and like a lot of that use an electro unit up here, that doesn't, you're not knocking enemies back, which is nice, and it's pretty comfy to play. Probably its best is, but it doesn't have a grouper again, is a big issue, right?
Yeah.
Can you get away with Can you get away with Kazuha over Shanglang here?
I mean, if you need the AoE, then yes, you can.
Okay. Now, do you think... I feel like this does not breach A tier, do you?
I agree.
Top of B or...
Top of B, yeah.
Middle of B? Top of B?
Top of B seems fine, yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Especially
okay.
If we're taking the Kaza variant into account.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would yeah, we are taking variants into account for this.
Okay, then yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so Nilou Bloom.
Do we need to say anything?
I don't think so.
Yeah, just move on to the next one.
I don't know. I think MiHoYo made a mistake with this. Like, how did they let this character be so strong without like any investment? You just invest in full HP and full EM, and yeah, you're Nahida, you build for damage, but like, how is this legal?
It shouldn't be. The team is stupid. It's so stupid. The investment it requires as well.
Yeah, but even not counting the investment, the thing, people talk about it having like a high floor as if they're implying that it has a low ceiling, but it does not have a low ceiling.
Yeah.
It has a very high ceiling. It's just that you reach that ceiling for like no work, which again, I'm not taking into account for its placement, but it's still noteworthy.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I think the best AoE team in the game.
Yeah. There's a few variants you can do. You can do Ayato instead of Kokomi. You can do Kale instead of Kirara. I would always leave Nahida there. You can run it without Nahida. I'd say it's go down to the top of A if you take away Nahida.
Yeah.
But it's still good. Anyone who tells you it's not good without Nahida, it's just I would never use it because it feels so much more insane with Nahida. You can also do something like running, obviously Candace with Yao Yao barely feels worse. You can run Yao Yao with Xingqiu if you need some single target. So there are a lot of variants that you can use. You can use Kale Barbara, DMC Barbara. Yeah, it's ridiculous. The only downside I think it has is breaking shields. Like if you need to break shields that Hydro or Dendro can't break, like cryo shields, then you're kind of hooped. I've heard that you might be able to use Kaveh to brute force through the shields with his Claymore.
Oh my god. I want to cry just hearing that.
I need to try it. I have no comment on that for now.
I mean, also people might want to point out the fact that the team also has no grouper, but I don't think it's as big of an issue here, considering how like big Nilou's radius is, how big Nahida's radius is, and yeah.
I think if you feel like you would need a grouper for the content, using something like Nahida Ayato Baiju is going to be the best, because Ayato's burst radius is really, really big and his slashes are big, and Nahida, and so you're basically your AoE blooms, and the bloom radius for Nilou is deceptively large as well. So it overall still performs well. Even Xingqiu, even Yelan, especially if you, we're considering C0 5 stars only, but if you do have C1 Yelan, that actually is pretty nice with with Nahida for tagging all the enemies with hydro and blooms and getting things going. So yeah, Nilu. Why is this an AOE? Is this an AOE? Oh wait, it is an AOE team.
I guess, yeah.
But if you're gonna use an AOE team, you should actually be using Kazuha instead of the Layla slot here, right?
Yeah.
I forgot about that when I was making it.
It's fine. And we are assuming C6 Farazan, by the way.
We are assuming C6 Farazan. I know that is a tall ask, but just give yourself 5 years and you'll have C6 Farazan.
And in the process, you get a C3 Wanderer, so yeah.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Or you get Kokomi and whoever other characters on the side of him if you don't want Constellations. But I hear his Constellations are pretty good.
I actually don't know any of them, to be honest.
I didn't know any of them until I made my Constellation video, and someone commented that his C6 is comparable to Yelan's C6.
That's cope. No, I refuse to believe that. No.
Yeah. His haircut's too bad for that to be the case, I think.
What? Okay.
Okay, so what do we think about this? I've never played it. I think it's with Kazuha. It's fine in AOE, but I don't know how crazy it is. But I mean, it is really strong. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually don't. I generally do not know that much about the team. All I know is that C6 Farazan is insane. That's basically my depth of knowledge. I know more about the other on
so insane that might. You know more about this one? Okay. Well, where would you put Zhao?
I honestly think Zhao AOE top of A.
Okay.
With C6 Farazan.
I think that if you're running Kazuha, I think that I don't think Wander is far behind with C6 Farazan. But I do think that Aggravate is insane, so I don't know, maybe here.
Sure, that's fine, yeah.
Because just based on what I know about them relative to each other.
Yeah. And Skirmish also has access to immediate frontload with his burst. Which is nice. But yeah.
So why is Zhao top of A, in your opinion?
Okay, because Zhao's biggest issue before was the fact that he had no real good teammates, and like no one lasted enough to buff him and stuff. Animo Shred didn't really exist besides Zhongli, and a lot of stuff like that. With Farazan, because something you kind of didn't mention with Farazan is that she also does group kind of at C6.
Yes. Yeah,
she has pretty solid grouping at C6, which also helps Zhao, because he used to just
push his enemies away slightly.
And Farazan helps keep those enemies in his radius and keep attacking and hitting them, which is very valuable. So yeah, and Zhao's AoE it's massive. It's deceptively big.
It's really big.
Yeah, and there's like no real. I can't think of like any AoE content where it really just performs well.
Right.
Yeah, and
yeah, I can see that. Except for like ventiable content.
Well, yeah.
When they're like really spread
when
out.
They're really spread out, that's a pain in the ass. But hopefully they just come towards you. That's all you can really say.
Often they do. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's really solid.
Why do you think he's not S tier?
I was gonna say I'm very tempted to move him to S. He was one of the two I was gonna put in S. I think obviously below.
Really?
Yeah, obviously below Nilum. Obviously. But yeah. Again, C6 Farazan should be illegal. I don't know why they made that character a thing, especially with all the other niche supports that just aren't to her standard. But yeah. And also, you can replace Albedo with like something like Kazuha if you want it. And the team's just nuts.
I'm thinking this. I'm gonna make another pause in the video right here. I'm thinking I should have put in the intro that that is not really about the power rankings of the tier list. It's more about to give you a ton of team ideas for yourself and to what team ideas you could build with your characters.
Yeah, I hope everyone looks at the tier list and will say you aggravate, honestly.
It's 100%.
Yes, it's so fun.
Okay, let's talk about it now. You go first.
If Nilo Bloom didn't exist, I think this would just consistently be the best AoE team in the game. Okay,
Yeah.
first,
Yep.
let's talk about each component of this team.
Okay, let's.
First, we have Child. Child gives you access to immediate front load,
Yeah.
as well as the fact that he makes Kaza's double sword setups a lot easier.
Yeah.
And also his AoE Hydro damage allows you to vape everything in Jangling's kit very easily. Even if you have a Pyro Swirl, you're still able to just keep up with that and vape everything. It's ridiculous.
And it's kind of,
Then
he
also
kind
you
of
have
breaks the
Jangling, of
game.
course.
Wait, he kind of breaks the game as well. He's kind of illegal because he does because he is actual
scaling.
quadratic scaling. Like only like 2
Yes.
characters in the entire game have quadratic scaling.
Yes.
But his you
The
can
more
actually
enemies you
use
have,
all the
more he
time.
does. Yeah, it's ridiculous. His damage just ramps up a lot in AoE.
Yeah.
I
I feel
mean,
like people
only
don't talk about
real
that. They really
thing-
underrate Child.
Yeah. People think he does no damage. To be fair, I think it was kind of like the overcorrection because a lot of people were saying Child is the DPS of the team, but he isn't, so we had to like overcorrect that and say like no, Jangling normally does output more. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. Sorry,
I
go
think
ahead.
it was an
Jangling.
overcorrection.
Yeah.
Yeah, people think he does no damage, but yeah. Then you also have Jangling. Jangling is God herself. She does a lot of damage.
I just made a video on that exactly.
Yeah, I know. Which you guys should also go check out.
All right.
But yeah, AoE. One of Jangling's biggest limiting things, as we've talked about, is the fact that there aren't that many great AoE Hydro appliers.
Mm-hmm.
Aito is negged by energy requirements, but at least with Child, he doesn't fall into those energy issues while also being able to vape Jangling completely and enable Jangling to vape completely, which is great.
Yeah. And then obviously
there's
Bennett's
also-
gonna buff both of them, which is pretty
Bennett
huge.
buffs both of them amazingly. Kaza buffs both of them and gives you
Yeah.
access to grouping. So yeah,
I think that
this
the
seems, like,
synergies
really
of
complete.
the synergies of the team are really scarily good. Like they all work together exactly perfectly and come together. Like when you
Yes.
look at even look at most of the teams, actually there's 1 or 2 things about them that don't synergize absolutely perfectly. Like Shenhe doesn't buff
Yep.
all of Ayaka's damage. Yamiko extends the rotations of Yai, of Raiden, sorry. Neither Baiju nor Kirara work perfectly in this team. Fischl's not AoE. Like there's like lots of different little things that just don't like come together perfectly, whereas this team, all 4 members come together exactly perfectly to complement each other.
yes.
Pretty cool.
There is one kind of issue, I guess, which is downtime, and the team is kind of mechanically intensive to play.
Right.
But yeah, but I think downtime can just be easily overcome. It is a part of Child's kit, and you have to funnel Jangling regardless, so it isn't that big of a deal.
Right.
And for like learning the double sword mechanics and stuff, if you can overcome that, then the team is easily one of the best in the game.
Right.
So yeah.
And what holds it back from being the best, I guess, just the
Nila's
sheer
just too
stupid
good.
damage. It's really stupid.
Nila's just too. If you were looking at the team overall, I would put International above Nila, but if we're looking at pure AoE, it's Nila's stupid. I hate
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I agree. Although I am interested to compare when I do get Child, because I do feel like Nilu, you can when you do run Singcho, its single target is actually pretty good, so you can get by
Yeah.
anyways. That's my opinion. I do think that the Nilu team is overall better, but I also haven't played Child, so that's
He's the GOAT.
yeah. I can't say definitively. Okay, now taking a bit of a step down,
A bit.
we have Hazo being carried by 3 other top tier characters.
Hazo is just a Farazan driver at this point.
The one nice thing about this team is you can funnel, because Hazu doesn't really want to stay on and do normal attacks. You can take some time to quickly funnel Zhang Ling during when you're normally be attacking, like while his skill is on cooldown. So that's one thing. It's a very co-positive.
Farazan, and also Farazan's broken. That's also an amazing positive.
Yeah, Farazan's broken. Between the bit of grouping you get from Farazan and from Hazo, the grouping is decent. And obviously double. It's like a mono pyro team. It's like a mono pyro-ish. So you're still getting VV from probably Farazan on this team. And then Hazo is going to take advantage of that buff. So it's actually probably a pretty good team overall. But I haven't built it because you need C6 Hazo and C6 Farazan.
And I only haven't looked into the team myself. I'm not interested in Hazo. So
yeah.
I can't really tell you how good it is.
If anyone's tried this team, please comment down below where you think this team would be on the tier list. Because I'm going to put it here. Here?
So,
I don't know. Just so it doesn't ruffle any feathers. I'm going to put it here for now.
Yeah. Gunny Sims are crazy, dude.
They are. Okay. We have Mono Geo and Mono Geo. I mean, this character is hotter, so this is better, right? Agree.
That is so based.
I guess one cool thing is, no, I don't know. I mean, Mono Geo is pretty. Like you the big disadvantage of it is that you can't run a grouper very well.
Yes.
Other than that, like both Ito and Noelle have good AOE. Noelle falls off in single target, but in AOE she actually does quite a bit of AOE damage, right? Like because her range is so massive.
Her range is ridiculous.
It really is. It's also very satisfying. That gigantic is so cool.
Ito also does have like tighter windows, I guess. He does more damage in a quicker amount of time than Noelle does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think, especially with how much easier Ito is to maneuver than Noelle, I do think I think they should be in different tiers maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure. I don't, if we're talking pure AoE, I don't think the gap between them is like massive, but it is noticeable.
So
maybe like
we'll talk about Ito first. Like, do you think he belongs in A with the big boys?
I don't think I can put him above Morgana. No.
Yeah, that's fair. So do you put him at the bottom of A below Morgana, or do we put him down in B?
I'm trying to think, because he does well against Makukenki, he does well against the two big Geo Bishops. He's fine in mobbing because he can move quite far.
Yeah.
I can't think of anywhere where he would fall off heavily, and he doesn't have knockback on his attacks either. So.
Yeah. I think bottom of A is fair.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm sure Geo. There's also we should also talk about that he's very vertically, vertically scaling. So like, the more you invest in him and his team in artifact quality, like if you R5 your Serpent Spine versus going with a White Blind, like it's gonna be a completely different game.
Yeah.
And if you go for his weapon, or if you like have the Cinnabar Spindle on Albedo and you have a cracked out Husk set for both him and Ito, like he could creep up on this. I don't know exactly to where, but like he has more vertical mobility. I still don't think he makes it near S tier, but like
nope. Yeah.
His damage gets pretty high when you really invest into him vertically.
And then
not including constellations, just
and then Noelle, I think, is like below double Onimo Quicken.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna debate you. We have 3 different types of monopyro. I don't know why they're all split up like this. Most of them are designed to mix and match, so you can mix and match most of these teams, but this one we decided to split it up, so here we go.
Because the reason why is because we have a monopyro team that's good, and then we have monopyro teams that don't exist. That's the reason why.
If they don't exist, then shouldn't they not be here?
That's also fair. Do you want to take clear?
I've never played Klee. I've only played Dea. This is the only one I've played.
Okay.
And
fine.
I
I'll
actually
say Klee.
think it's right around here.
They're the comment section are not gonna like that.
No, they're gonna hate it. Maybe, I mean, maybe worse than Reverse Mill, but it's definitely in this tier, in my opinion. Kazuha,
Alright.
like, because the thing is, and I'll let you talk after this, but the thing is that Kazuha, Bennett, Zhangling is just such a ridiculous core that it doesn't even, you can put a log in the last slot and it does incredible damage. It's not quite true, because when I did actually test that, I did just play a 3-man mono pyro with just like a dead 4th slot, just to try. But so she does add something, but you can do stuff like use more skills in the rotation and stuff like that to fill out the cooldowns. But it is, again, these 3 characters are just so strong in AOE that, and Dea is very comfy to play as well. It's very easy to play. So the more skill issue you are, the higher you could justify that. Okay, take it away.
All right, so let's look about Klee, because I feel like Klee's very underrated.
Okay.
So first, no, Klee's actually not getting carried in this team. Klee actually does a pretty large portion of the team's damage, even more so than Zhangling, even in AOE, which
Really?
is kind of surprising. But yeah, it's kind of due to the fact it is kind of due to the fact that you get to funnel Zhangling less, so she ends up having to build more ER. So that is kind of due to it, and Klee can just focus on
surely not that
damage.
much ER though with triple pyro and potentially Favonius Kazuha.
You definitely have to run Favonius Kazuha. But yeah, Klee's raw damage is really high. It's very underrated. People like to overlook it because Klee's quite mechanically challenging. But the team doesn't really fall off anywhere. Klee's damage can also bounce heavier enemies as well, which is good for staggering stuff and staggering annoying enemies. But yeah, the team does a lot of damage. Klee enables a lot of damage. She's good.
Can you do my Klee video for me?
Can
you do my Klee video for me?
I can help you with it, sure. I hate that I know a lot about Klee, but yeah.
Excellent.
I don't know. I thought she was really fun, and also the fact that Kazuha can suck up her bombs for a lot of damage, like just quick burst damage. And Klee's charge attacks are really powerful.
I'm actually excited to get Klee now.
Yeah, I think she's really fun. If you can get over like the learning curve, because a lot of people don't like the way she plays. If you can get over the learning curve, Klee's quite strong. But the only other issue is kind of the fact that if you replace Klee with Child, then you just get international, which is a lot better.
Sure.
But if you do decide to invest in a mono pyro team, I don't think you'll be disappointed by it. The output is really good.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. This is not a single target, Taylor, but how does it perform in single target? Just out of curiosity.
It's okay in single target. I mean, it's like
serviceable.
It's like around, I guess, like if you want to compare it to like other characters, it's like around Ito in single target, I think. Slightly worse though.
Oh. So it's actually like better than Monogeo.
I would say so, yes.
Overall.
And Pyro is also a better element than Geo.
Sure.
And you have access to a grouper, so yeah.
So do you think that hearing you talk, it kind of makes me sound like it's better than, well, it's around Ayato National, or where do you think it is?
I don't want to be taken away by I honestly think it's fine to put like above Ayato National.
Sucrose National?
Yeah, sure. But yeah, I think the team is very underrated. People just don't like playing Klee. And yeah.
Which is fair, but doesn't mean the character is not good. And then I don't know. There's no shot that this is as good as Dea, but I don't know.
Just put it like
maybe.
I don't think it's better than any team in C, I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm coping with Dea. We can leave it here. I don't know.
That was sure.
It's probably not better than
the best team in the game. Sai, you aggravate. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll leave it. We'll put it here. We'll put it here. It could be that these three are more cope. I don't know. I still think that it's better. I do think it's better than this.
I don't. What isn't?
Yeah. We're gonna find out. I don't think anything. I'm not gonna lie. Ayaka Monocryo. Monocryo is for bossing. You shouldn't really be using it for AOE. I mean, it's good for like triple mega. Okay, actually, to be fair, in ungroupable AOE like triple mega Kenki, it's pretty great actually. It's really amazing against triple mega Kenki. It's actually kind of scary. Other than that, you shouldn't really be using it in AOE. I think it's not for damage wise. It's like just as high or higher, obviously, but they just don't stay grouped up long enough for Ayaka to get all her quills off. So
I know nothing about this. I'm being honest.
It's really strong, but yeah, they just don't stay grouped up without freeze. So it's like it's very hit or miss. It's again very good against ungroupable enemies that can't be grouped anyways, and then it's really good.
Yeah. Alright, sure.
So
I believe
you. Yeah. So I don't know. It's tough. We'll put it just above Sayu. Okay, we have Eula. This is your girl. Go for it.
Dude. Are you gonna make me do my own girl like this? This is my second favorite character in the game.
Okay, fine, I'll do it. So if you want to play Eula, you need to get C6.
Oh really? Wow. Wow. Dude. You're gonna do my queen like that? But
oh my goodness.
Okay. The thing about
so
oh, do you want to go or do you... I can take it.
I can start. Sure, I can start. Okay, the thing about Eula. No, you go.
Alright, okay. One thing about Eula, okay, Eula's hard to justify in AoE kind of because of the fact that if you build max stacks, most of the time you've done enough damage to the enemy, and then like using the burst is completely overkill. So you only really want to use it against stronger bosses and stronger bosses like triple Kenki and the two bishops. That's where I think Eula is the best. But besides that, it's kind of hard to justify Eula. In mobbing, she's terrible. Against heavy target, she's fine. She's terrible. Yeah. Against heavy target, she's fine. I guess
she's actually not that bad against the consecrated beasts.
Yeah. She gave me my fastest clear time actually on consecrated beasts.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
she's actually not that bad.
My Eula's like better than most people's Eulas, and I was able to just one shot both of them.
My Eula is decent, but I don't have Zhongli, and so I really can't play against the consecrated beasts.
Just use Eula Bennett, dude. Come on, get with the times.
My Bennett C6.
But yeah, Eula's best against bosses with multiple enemies, so like triple Kenki. But besides, I think she's really good for that, and I do feel like Eula's perception is a lot lower than it actually is. I feel like people think Eula is a lot worse than she is, but
yeah,
it's perfectly valid to just like put her quite low. But I'm gonna close my eyes as you do the placement.
I'm going to put her.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking.
Okay, I put her exactly where you would want her.
Where did you put her?
Just below Racer.
Oh no. This is. I just want to say again. This is not my tier list. Okay.
Where would you put her?
S tier.
Okay. Okay, so we've got this team, which is I'm not gonna lie, I've never liked this team very much, and I hate it even more now that we have Dendro. So you're gonna have to talk about it.
Okay, yeah, I played this team a lot. This was one of my go-to teams pre-Dendro, but yeah, Dendro came out and obviously changed a lot of things. The thing I kind of hate about Dendro is, at least for Taser teams, it's kind of if you have a Dendro option available that's good, why would you not just run Dendro variants of these characters? Like Fischl.
And by that's good, you mean that's not Kave.
Yes. Because like Sucrose can be used in Aggravate, and she can be used as like a Hyper Bloom driver. Then Fischl used in Aggravate, used in most Dendro teams actually. And then Jingcho again.
Yeah, you could just put Xingqiu for Yao Yao here.
Yeah.
And then you've got an amazing Aggravate team.
Yeah.
And you can use your Xingqiu on the other side. That's kind of huge.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. I would in terms of power level, I don't think it's much worse than like what the Beidou Aggravate team we had up earlier. I don't think it's that far below, but I would put it below. It does do less damage, yes. But I guess it's better in single target because of Jingqiu. But this is an AOE
better
ranking.
in single target, but this is an AOE tier list.
Yeah.
Because if it was in single target, I think it could be higher, but because it's an AOE, what do you think about this?
I mean, I do disagree.
Or do you think it belongs?
I do disagree, but I think
Do you think it belongs here?
I think it belongs in A, yes. Wait, where was the Beidou team? Okay, that's fair. You can maybe even... Yeah, that's fair. Bottom of A, sure.
Okay. We have Taser with Raiden.
I love this team. This is my favorite team for Dendro.
It's hard for me to play this team without dying.
It's fine. Jingcho's the best healer in the game.
Okay. Do you think that it's better or worse than this team? Should be better in single target.
It's better. It's definitely better in single target. The team is more single target oriented, if anything. So I honestly don't think it should be an A. I'd put it like... I'd put like around where Sino is. Maybe even below Sino. That's fair.
It feels like Sino is unfortunate because his attacks have AOE, but his best teams are single target teams.
I mean, when we talk about like the single target tier list, he'll fare a lot better because you have quick bloom and stuff.
Yeah, if you're a Sino main, make sure to go over to Flip's channel and check out that tier list.
That means you Noir. But yay Coco. Yay Taser.
Yeah.
I actually really like this team.
Okay.
I don't know if have you played it? Oh no, you don't have Kokomi.
No, I don't have Kokomi.
I think this team.
I mean, this has to be better in AOE.
Yeah, it would be better than the.
Should be better in AOE.
Yeah, the team is actually really fun, because you don't even need to on field with the eye that much. It's not like Aggravate where you need to keep poking aggravate. You can even like use. I'm pretty sure you can TF Kazaha if you want. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can. But the team is pretty solid. The damage isn't. Okay, for like big fights like triple Kenki, I don't think it would be that great there because the damage isn't that high.
Yeah.
Right? But at least for like mobbing for enemies that aren't super tanky, it should fare quite well. But
So do you think it hits A or do you think it stays just top of B?
I'd say it stays near the top of B. I think maybe below Soup.
I'm gonna just defer to you because I haven't played the game, so it's hard for me to say.
I'm trying to think.
Better than.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it's better or worse than Sign. It's definitely worse than the Raiden teams, but. Sorry, it's better. It's better than the Raiden teams.
Oh, it's better than the red teams. Okay, that makes sense. In AOE.
Yeah. Oh.
Should Raiden go below Double Animo in AOE?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. And again, this is ordered, but it's not like we're not being that meticulous. There's way too many teams.
There's too much variables as well.
Yeah, exactly. It's impossible. As soon as you change one enemy type and the whole tier list.
Like if you just say we're talking purely based on
I don't know why
mobbing,
we're making this video.
Yeah. If we say this tier list is based purely on mobbing, that changes the whole list. But
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, Sucrose.
Okay. Yeah.
Is this
Sucrose Hyper Bloom?
Is this another team you haven't played?
No, I played this.
Oh, you have? Alright, you can talk about it.
it's really hard to play because you don't have because no, it's sorry, it's super easy to play because Xingqiu is the best healer in the game.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, it's good. I don't know. I would personally just rather play, I would rather just play Kuki.
Fair, yes.
And then you don't. Yeah, I would just rather play Kuki, and then. No, it's good. It's good. It's a good team. I don't know how. I haven't played. See, the thing, it's hard to compare it to what have I played that I can compare it to. Do I think it's better or worse than Aggravate?
I think it would be worse.
Yeah.
If we're talking strictly AOE, because this is just, if we're being realistic, this is just a single target team with AOE on this side.
With Sucrose.
Yeah. Sucrose is the only thing making this team AOE. That's it.
Yeah. 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 So, but also the issue I have with this, that's pretty much the issue I have with this team though, is if you're running it in single target, you don't bring Sucrose.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the issue I have with this team overall. And also it can be sometimes, you kind of sometimes miss your Electro Swirl.
Because Nahida's application is a pain in the ass.
And when you do, you just lose an absolute truckload of damage.
You miss an EC and an Aggravate Swirl, which, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. And a Hyper Bloom.
Yeah. So yeah, I would just, I don't even know if I can put an A for AOE.
So,
again,
I'm not putting it.
Yeah, because again, it's so different because, like, in single target, I think the team is fine, and overall, I would rank the team higher than a lot of the teams I'm putting above, like, you're putting above now.
Yes.
But just the fact that we're talking about pure AOE, that makes it have to go lower.
Yeah. It's a really scuffed tier list. I'm sorry for everyone who watched it this long.
I feel bad because we're just gonna go to the single target one. It's just gonna be like a lot more cohesive and easier to follow. But damn, AOE.
I know your video is gonna be like 20 minutes, and mine is gonna be like 3 hours. Alhaitham spread. I think we accidentally left 3 teams that we neither of us liked to the end. So this is gonna be rough. Probably smart for the algorithm. If you like any
3 of these teams, just click off.
Yeah, just click off now. Okay, here's the problem with Alhaitham spread. If you're going to use Alhaitham in AoE, unless it's non-groupable but already grouped up AoE, okay, so like, anyways, unless it's like that, then you really want to be bringing Kazuha. If you're bringing Kazuha, then your on-field or Alhaitham can't take advantage of his buffs. Even if you use Sucrose, the EM buff that she gives is nothing compared to VV Shred. So you're much better off changing Alhaitham for Fischl and using Yaimiko on, and then switching, and yeah, so you're just better off playing an Aggravate team. And also Kuki does nothing here. Kuki is just healing and providing some electro application of particles, but you don't even need that application. You already have Yai. So Kuki is doing nothing here. She's a dead slot, and so you just lost a quarter of your team for no reason. So
the thing, Kuki's really only here because you want to bring a defensive option, and you want to also be able to like battery Yai at the same time. And the only one who can really do that is Kuki. Because if you bring Zhongli, then you lose electro resonance and you lose like a lot of particles and stuff. But yeah.
And I was hoping that Baiju or Kirara or something would come out and you could replace Nahida with them and replace the Kuki slot with Fischl. But there's 2 issues with that. Is one, those don't create as much energy as Nahida, and so your Alhaitham doesn't get that. Also, they don't do nearly as much personal damage. Also, they don't buff Alhaitham. And Fischl, you don't get as much of a bonus from doing Fischl because Alhaitham is not proccing electro reactions, it's proccing Dendro reactions, so Fischl's A4 doesn't proc.
Yep. So just don't play this team.
Team sucks. Actually though, if you invest well into this team is actually really good, which is the weird part. Because Alhaitham is actually a good character. Well, anyways.
Yo, finish that sentence, dude.
if you want someone to tell you why Alhaitham is good but actually bad in a nice way, watch my video on Alhaitham. And if you want to hear it in a mean way, then go watch Flip's video.
Okay,
That being said, though, again, it still is pretty good. I feel like this entire tier is basically like it's only good sometimes, and then this tier is it's good all the time, and then this tier is it's broken.
It breaks the game, yeah.
And this tier is cope. That makes sense. Actually, we've come up with I'm starting to see the light. I'm coming around. I don't know if it's like we're actually geniuses or if I'm suffering from Stockholm syndrome from talking to you for 10 hours.
I'm like the best person to talk to for 10 hours, though.
True and real. Okay. So, is it better or worse than Sino? I mean, it's because Sino has grouping, but but barely though, because after you the problem with Sino's grouping with Kazuha is that after you group them, they just ungroup as you're attacking them, and by the time you're halfway through, they're ungrouped.
It's like really fake grouping because of how long Sino stays on field.
Yeah. This is hard.
I'm just gonna I have to put Alhaitham above, I think.
We'll just leave it right here.
Yeah.
Worse than Hazo. I guess this isn't really Hazo. This is Hazo being carried by by 3 S tiers.
This is Hazo being carried by like the 3 best characters in their role, the best buffer, the best all-field damage dealer, and the best niche support. He's just driving Farazan. I think that's my favorite term, Farazan driver.
He's driving Farazan. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Melt the Luke.
Can we just leave it in D?
There's a guy in my last video that really liked Melt the Luke. I would feel so bad. He talked about how good it was.
You talked about how good it was? Yeah.
Oh, I want to believe him. I've never tried it.
Neither have I. No, actually, no. I take that back. I have tried it because I made my video covering every single team, and I to be fair, I couldn't play it properly.
I think that is an issue. It's hard to play.
It's ridiculously hard to play.
I'm not a fan of hard to play teams. There's too many teams. How am I supposed to learn to play all these teams if they're hard? God.
Step 1 would be getting off of mobile.
Sorry?
Step 1 would be getting off of mobile.
Yeah, that I'm working on it.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. I have no idea, dude. This is too hard. Tell me in the comments where you think this should go. I'm gonna leave it right there for now.
Can we just leave?
Final one. This is all you. No, I'm not putting it in D. Okay, fine. I'll put it below you, though.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Sukokomon.
Okay, so
I don't have Kokomi, so
I played this team a lot. I've looked at this team a lot. I've looked into too much of this team, and I hate it. So imagine the worst part. Imagine every issue you can think of that a team can have. This team has all of them. So, like, the only redeeming quality is the fact that it does do a lot of damage. That is it. But
I mean, it has a pretty good upside.
Yeah. The team is ridiculously hard to play with, needing really high timings, low ping, good switches. The weapon choices also aren't that maneuverable. You kind of need TTDS, and then like Zhangling needs Ketane Spear just for the energy. It's the team. Okay, the rotation is quite hard. The team does do damage, but then on top of that, the team also has no mobility at the same time, and then also has a ton of energy issues. And then the single target also isn't that great, but we're talking about AOE, so sure, why not? I just don't really think, for all the hassle the team for all the hassle you have to go through, and the fact that it takes what Zhangling, Fischl, Sucrose, 3 really good characters, I just don't think the team, you can really justify using the team in any type of content. And
brutal.
In bosses, in mobbing, anything clears mobbing, and you have Sucrose who can group decently, so it's fine in mobbing. In heavy enemies, I think that's where it does shine, because you actually need the enemies to be crippled for this team to like work perfectly. And if you get like hit, you miss a go bus roll and stuff, it's can be very punishing. Assuming you do play the team perfectly, everything goes right. It has mediocre damage. it has quite good damage, and you're also able to trigger a lot of chain reactions, so the more enemies you have, like the more the damage just explodes. So yeah, the team is good, but there's just too many issues with it, and I just don't like the team. I hate all the time I spend looking at the team, and calculating electro charge is the pain in the ass, so like the damage can really fluctuate a lot. So I don't know, I just don't think it's worth the hassle, despite how good the team may and can be. And also Dendro raised the ceilings for a lot of teams,
and pretty much all of these characters
benefit
all of these
from Dendro.
characters are, except for
Zhangling,
are better off running in a Dendro team.
Yeah, and again, there's just a lot easier teams to play that can do Suikokomon numbers that also aren't like complete aids and really situational. So I don't know. I think the team just don't use it, please.
Alright, so D for don't use it?
Yes, yeah, leave it D. No, but realistically, I would put it like bottom of B or top of C.
Okay. We'll go bottom of B because I've heard people talk highly about it, but so we'll give it on the higher end of your opinion.
Unless you're
so no teams ended up in
Terrapin,
D.
you weren't playing
Sorry,
this.
go ahead.
Unless you're like Terrapin, you aren't playing this team.
Yeah, don't play this team, but if you do, I guess it's in B.
Also, the team has no vertical investment. You can't go anywhere with the team. So.
Yeah, just how good. Elegy on Fischl?
I guess. And that's it. Zhangling has to kind of run Keytain unless you're running like 1,000 DR on her. So no, the team doesn't really go anywhere.
So I think this is where we end up with our tier list. I'm actually pretty happy with it. I don't want to go through all of it again because it's not that serious. This is just for fun and to, again, give you ideas for teams that you should try out. And again, some of these, you've heard us talk about the pros and cons of each of these teams. A lot of them are really good in certain situations, and so certain abysses, they're way better, right? Like, yeah, so it's not a be all end all. And yeah, any final thoughts you have to say? You want to say, Flip?
Don't play Suikokomon. And Eula, and he's a liar. Eula is the best character in the game. Those are my 2 final words.
All right, we'll find. We'll do this.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Okay, and go check out Flip's channel. The single target version of this tier list will be on his channel. It will be the much better video, so look forward to that.
I'm so sorry.
And and if you want to check out another actually good video, my actual tier list video is going to be right here, so definitely check that one out. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
Yes, peace.